Hello, guys. I am Shane Davis, 20-year comic book veteran. I'm here with Yanzi Lynn, and today is the day we are going and recapping a little bit of the aftermath of SJWs as it's hitting pretty hard that the last 10 years of comic book publishing, maybe a little bit more, all these initiatives have done nothing but fail, given our audience to manga and also diminishing returns for comic book retailers as a very big comic book shop recently has closed in New York City, which has a lot of walk-through traffic. So why is it closing? Because of unsellable product. And we have Tim Seeley here, and this is a deleted tweet. Now, he first threw this out in response to what we think was the news of Jim Hanley's universe shutting down, and then he deleted it for whatever reason. We have no idea. But let's get into it.
All right, so Tim over here says, I've been screaming for 10 beep years that making comics more expensive and for fewer people would bite us in the ass hard one day. And now people are like, oh gosh, what happened? So Tim had to delete this, I guess, because it's attracting the wrong kind of attention. Now, for people who don't know, Tim is definitely very much on the screaming activist side of comics, all right? So before people who say, oh my gosh, this sounds like Comicsgate talking point, well, maybe people are finally waking up on the other side. So what is happening here is that he's saying, all right, comics are getting more expensive. That is true. We all know the famous DC line. Hold the line at $2.99. Then it became $3.99. Then it became $4.99. Now it's $5.99. And there's a lot of $9.99 books anyway. And now, the other thing that he's saying here, for fewer people. Ooh, oh my gosh. You mean that chasing after all the people, the LGBTQIA community, the gender swap, race swap, so you can get claim you have representation of all these minorities. It didn't work for them. Now, obviously, because Tim is on that side of the comic aisle, that's not what he means. He probably means like you guys are increasing the price, therefore only rich people can afford the hobby now.
I do think for a second, like he's admitting that some of these books with some of these very specific demographics are trying to hit, albeit they're the smallest demographics. They are like Pacific Islander month or like Pride month. I mean, these aren't the mass majority of comic book consumers. That these type of things, I'm going to say maybe Tim meant that. Maybe Tim saying like these type of initiatives are choking out retailers. They can't sell this stuff and they have to order it to be virtuous, and then they end up sitting on it. And first off, I need to really explain to everybody, if you don't understand the comic business as far as retailers go, they take their profits not just to put in the bank account, but to order for next month. So the less profitable comics are, the less comics they can order the following consecutive month. And this is like a big issue for retailers and growth in the market. And we're seeing stores shut down. So now, in my opinion, the industry's at a point of kind of shrinking or constricting in a way, and they're going to like retract. And the less shops that are available, the less readers can get this stuff. And it becomes like super, super problematic for any type of rebound to come. Even if there was like a big upswing in the American comic book industry, you need the storefronts to be there and open to house the product. Without them there housing the product, you're basically going to have to inject a lot of good comic material, bring people back, and then make the industry so healthy that a lot of normal citizens go open up comic book shops.
So this is his tweet that we say has very strong Comicsgate talking points. Let's look at his revised tweets that came up. So again, this is in reference to the Jim Hanley Universe comic shop, the Manhattan branch closing down. He says, my guess is because comics as an industry was pillaged for IP and collectible graded crap with no investment in building new readership. And now the chickens are coming home to roost, Mark. So this is pretty much like a 180 from his earlier statement over here, talking about IP being pillaged and collector grade stuff and not building new readership, when he's actually blaming the fewer people. So, you go after fewer people, which is the new people, and it's like, yeah, okay, this is a nice 180. So we can agree that yes, but you want to say the comic industry was pillaged for IP? I would say, I don't know, man. It seems like Hollywood is pillaging everything for IP these days, whether it's video games or books or comics. They're just pillaging from everywhere. So it's not a problem unique to the comic industry per se. Now, it's unique to the comic industry in the sense that the creators get, $5 grand from Marvel, and that's it. That's the only unique part I can think of. And believe it or not, collectability is actually good for the comic book industry, because when people heard that Namor was going to appear in Black Panther 2, the value of the Submariner comic actually went really high up. So there is actually a good value to that thing. But then the moment the
Right.
movie, I was like, whoopsie poopsie.
I disagree with him on this, and I disagree a lot with Tim Seeley. But the idea of pillaging IP, and again, like, you know, Mark Miller had pointed out, manga's how much of the market now?
79% of the market. So if
Right.
anybody's
And
pillaging
all,
IP, it's the Japanese.
right. And most of that 79% of the market is all merchandisable. So the logic here that pillaging IP is the problem. Look, Mark is you know, right in his assessment of the percentage. Tim is just trying to grasp at weak talking points. Looking for IP is not why the comic market is shrinking. Bad comic book, bad product. And this is the thing where we're going to start seeing in coming days, as there's consequences for these bad actions, that a lot of comic book pros who were part of this, who are working during this time, are going to start trying to come up with multiple different excuses. And look, a good comic is a good comic. An entertaining comic is a good comic. And that's all people want. Is it about the IP? People like reading comics. It doesn't matter, like, period. The manga market, all of that stuff, that's probably all 70% of our market now, is all cartoons, toys, t-shirts of some sort, Hot Topic t-shirts or bags for girls or something. Like, most popular manga is merchandisable. This doesn't make sense what Tim's saying. The merchandise is a product of popularity. Now, is Marvel and DC looking for comics at characters to give miniseries or ongoing series because of a movie or something? Sure, but that's still not an excuse not to make a good comic. The reality is everything is so woke. Everything is hiring off of diversity. I mean, this is coming from a man who took the I won't whatever harass women pledge that was going around, that was cooked up by SJW women to basically blackmail people and force them to admit to sexual harassment. Whether he did or didn't, I don't really care. None of that stuff has anything to do with comics. And that's the problem, is there's so many objectives right now, so many things that people are trying to do besides everything but make a good comic. And really, Tim just needs to admit, we've been making bad comics for years. Instead, they're going to blame the price points. The price points went up because they were selling less comics. Why? Because of bad comics. The root of the problem is bad comics. And year after year, maybe Scream, if you've been screaming for 10 whatever years, Tim, again, you know, a lot of the books have been geared towards a small demographic that are not a mass majority consumer. And we basically gave manga our readership because of this. What's the answer? Make good comics. If you guys will, please hit like, subscribe, ring the bell for notification. Also, Axcend Level Up, our independent crowdfunding comic, is up $85,333. 13 days left on this awesome Spider-Man meets Tron type action adventure comic. I'll leave you guys with a trailer for this smash hit comic coming to you from 9 Lives Comic.
I dream of a world carefully crafted, beautifully flawed. This is Axcend. In this game of life, there is one thing that determines a victor. A player's ability to grow. A player's ability to evolve. A player's ability to survive. My name is Dog. Choose to play. Choose to upgrade. Choose to level up. Choose to Axcend.